The economy is growing in the South County, and Tenino, Rainier, Rochester, and Grand Mound are becoming major players. On this episode of Thurston County Connection, we examine the systems in place to help further this growth. Hi, I'm Commissioner Gary Edwards. On this episode of Thurston County Connection, we speak with folks from the Thurston County Economic Development Council about the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative, or STEADY. This program helps small businesses get on their feet. But right now, we are going to check in with John Millard about what is new in Tenino.
But anyway, John Millard, the city clerk for the city of Tenino.
Thank you, George. It's really a pleasure to be the inaugural presentation for STEADY. So Tenino has a lot of attractions, and they're all woven together. Our city park, the quarry pool. I mean, you guys can read the slide, right? I'm just showing you the pictures because we have some things, but I'm going to spend the amount of time talking about how we are approaching all of these things. So the Small City Success Award, that seems like a little tiny thing. The Association of Washington City gives that out every year to small cities deserving of things, and it's usually based on a project, something the community got together and coalesced around, built. That's not why the city of Tenino got the award. The city of Tenino got that award because, quite frankly, this city has been a mess for a number of years, and Mr. Fournier hired 3 new directors, of which I'm one. And we sat down and we have been really working hard at engaging our city council and trying to, raise Tenino's level of performance. Obviously, we've been successful because it has been recognized by the Association of Washington Cities. Shauna just came up to me this morning before we started and said, hey, at the Convention and Visitors Bureau, we're excited about what's going on in Tenino. And through this guy's eyes, and this guy is a 25-year Army person, it's basic management. What allowed us to go from zeros to hero is just the application of basic management principles. And the first one of those is we've got a city council, and their job is to develop a vision and articulate that vision out there so that those of us charged with the day-to-day administration can go about getting after it. And that's exactly what we've been doing. So it's simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. It's been a chore. Part and parcel of that, our mayor was recognized by King 5 as the best mayor in Western Washington. The 3 projects, energy efficiency grant closeout. So what, right? That was a huge, huge deal for the city of Tenino. It should have been closed out in 2015. It's just been lingering. And so that's one of the things, the team got together with Department of Commerce and the Department of Enterprise Services, and we said, all right, what do we got to do to get this stupid thing closed out and off the books? And that's what we did. Quarry House re-roof, big deal, right? Putting a roof on a place? Oh no. Quarry House is a big structure. We got grants to do with it. We dropped the ball in a couple of instances with respect to what had to be done. So again, I go back to Thurston County and say, help us out. What do we need to do to get this show on the road Cammie Peterson told us, and that's what we did. Completion of the park master plan. That's another Port of Olympia Small Cities grant, thank you very much, that was let in 2015. And again, it's just languishing out there. So we picked up all the pieces, got with the designated contractor, and he's put together a remarkable park plan for us that I'm going to talk to you about more when we get to goals. Featured on the Bountiful Byways map. So what? So you would think that would be easy. No, to get on the Bountiful, there's guidelines. You know, we have to meet certain standards. And we wanted to do that, so we found out what the standards were, and we just worked at it and got there. Rebuilding the police department. When Chief Moody and I came on board, we had 1 police officer out of 3 authorizations, and no chief. There was a period of time when we didn't have a chief. Our police cars spent more time in the shop than they did on the roads. You know, he didn't have enough equipment so that when we got the new officers on board, we wouldn't be able to issue them all their protective equipment. So literally, we rebuilt, you know, and Chief Moody gets the credit for this, he rebuilt the Tenino Police Department. Right now we have 2 officers, we have 1 vacancy, we're hiring for it, but the process is in place, and you know, we took it in stride as opposed to something fairly minor being a catastrophe. We just took it in stride, we got the processes, we're going to hire a new one. They have brand new cars to get in, it's well within the city's budget to afford. You know, it's stuff like that. And then the mayor is particularly proud of the Facade Improvement Grant Program. The city, we asked the city council, and they were kind enough to authorize it for $3,000, and we made grants in the amount of $1,000 available to any business here in the historic district, which is, you know, like a 2-block square. And to our amazement, the business community came together and said, we don't want to spread the $3,000 around like peanut butter. We want the Eagles to get all of it because their place is in the worst shape. And so we went back to council and said, hey, council, the business community has asked us to modify the program so that we can get a business really in a good state. And that's what we did. And you can see if you drive by, the Eagles are still doing it, but they're spending about $15,000, so you know, we picked up $3,000 of that, but it's a help. And this year, the council authorized $5,000. We're going to do the same thing. We're having a meeting on the 17th of March to see if the business community, you know, do they want to spread it around like peanut butter? Do they want one person to get it? What's the plan? And we're happy to help. So all of those things, back into the goals, right? I like to tell everybody Katrina made me read the state's Growth Management Act so that I could have intelligent conversations with her when it came to planning. And what I discovered about the state's act is the state chose 13 organizing principles in the name of growth management, and they purposely did not prioritize any of those. What our statute, what our Growth Management Act says is that local governments are in best position to prioritize what they think is important and then develop their plans to go out and achieve that. So what our city council did, specifically with respect to the establishment of this business park, is we passed a resolution that says, out of those 13 principles, economic development is #1 in the city of Tenino. And that has now become the organizing principle upon which every action we take is aimed at achieving. That's simple. That's Management 101. Simple ain't easy. It takes work. So we're still driving toward that. Some of you may have heard about it. The Port of Olympia is kind of like taking the lead on the project, trying to find a location for it, arrange for the financing and all that kind of stuff. We are going after that thing with everything we've got. Creation of the Tenino Historic District. Well, you see on around here, there's a bunch of plaques on the building that say this building's on the National Historic Register. Great. doesn't really do anything for us. The state of Washington has a statute that talks about historic districts, and there's money attached to it, so the city is pursuing that avenue, and our intent is to do something to raise the conditions here in Tenino. Creative districts, same. The twist on that is when you say creative, we all have a natural tendency to think arts and crafts. This goes beyond arts and crafts. This is graphic designers. This is craft brewing. This is craft cheese making. I mean, if you start thinking of those terms, now you've broadened the avenue you can march down. There's a heck of a lot more money, and money equals opportunity. So we're pursuing that. This sounds mundane, but anybody that lives in South Thurston County knows water is hugely important. The city is in process of updating its water plan, and here's how serendipity enters into the equation. So update the water plan. We arrange an appointment at the Department of Health. We go sit down at the Department of Health and we start walking through their checklist, and we discovered several possible means that Tenino cannot increase the amount of water rights we have, but how we can more effectively utilize the rights that we do have, which in turn supports more growth, more economic development. Many of you know him, Freddie Evander, Katrina's predecessor, developed a 507 project that's centered on a roundabout where 509 and Old 99 merge out east of town. Big project, it meets all the complete streets requirements, it's great, but because it meets the complete streets requirements, it's far too expensive for the city of Tenino to afford. So TRPC is working with us to kind of chunk that project up and see if we can do pieces of it, throughout time, and eventually we'll get to the whole project. So that's important to us. And then finally, we just hired, well, I shouldn't say that. We're in process of hiring. It's a competitive bid process. Somebody to write a grant for us, a substantial amount of money to start executing the pieces of that park plan that were written for us. Corey House porch rehabilitation. Those of you that are familiar with it know that if you go to walk up the steps, which are carved out of solid pieces of Tenino sandstone, there's cracks, there's gaps. It's not really unsafe, but it could be. And so we want to fix it. That's going to be expensive. So we've got, again, thanks to our Thurston County commissioners, $10,000 from Thurston County in the form of a heritage grant, and $5,000 of the city's own money, and we anticipate we're actually going to put more than that into it. That's to get the Corey House back up. The Corey Pool renovation. Several years ago, the mayors of the South County communities got together, and rather than any one city getting an allotment of community development block grant funds, they all agreed to let Habitat for Humanity have those funds, and then Habitat for Humanity was going to come down to South County and work on affordable housing. Well, that plan didn't happen. And so what happened is Habitat for Humanity gave the money back, and so now, again, Thurston County is sitting on that bank of money. The appropriate folks got together, they went through another round of discussions and said, okay, we'll release this money so that Tenino can renovate the Corey Pool. Those of you that are familiar with the pool know the water quality in that thing is just above suck. It's nice, clean water, but there's a lot of things that make it, kind of you get out of the pool and there's green things hanging off you and stuff like that. We want to fix that. We want to fix that. Construction of a Veterans Memorial. If you're familiar with our city park, there's a railroad tie retaining wall over there that's falling down. So semantics here is very important. If you tell an engineer we want a retaining wall, oh, cool, no problem. We can do that for about, $8,000 or $9,000. That's not what we want. What we want is a veterans memorial that also happens to serve the function of a retaining wall. So it's an artistic thing. It's not going to cost $3,000 or $4,000. It's going to cost $15,000 or $18,000 or more. I'm making numbers up. So we're pursuing that, and we're this close to getting it done. Those of you that are throughout the county, you should know about the Tenino Trail. It's part of a larger trail network. Currently, Tenino is the western terminus of that trail. This feasibility study is going to look at, can we extend the trail westward toward Grand Mound in Rochester, and can we extend that trail southward towards Bucota? And we're interested in that for a number of reasons, some of it very practical, some of it just because we like the trail, and that's a good thing. I already talked about our park master plan improvement. We're going to do 5,000 as opposed to 3. Septage receiving. I also tell people that I have learned more about poop in the last 24 months than I ever thought was possible, let alone care to know about. Where does that stuff go? Once they pump it out of your septic tank, where does it go? Right now today, there's only a couple, 3 places in a 3-county area where those trucks can go. We did a poll, we did a feasibility study on this, and what we discovered is, yes, it's economically feasible. But Tenino is considering opening up our wastewater treatment plant, which is currently operating at about 1/3 of its capacity, and allow septage trucks to offload there. That's good for a number of reasons. First of all, it cuts down on the amount of road time of those trucks. That's good for the environment, and it's more economical for the operators. And when that stuff is put into our wastewater treatment plant, we know that it is being treated properly. I can't stand here today and tell you that every single septage truck out here is taking its contents to an authorized receiving place. So we're pursuing this for 2 reasons. One, it's just the right thing to do. And secondly, Tenino needs, our citizens need relief from their extremely high sewer bills, and we see this as a way to get there. City Hall improvements, you all know our buildings. It was moved to this location from an old sandstone quarry. It's been in place here on the corner of Hodgdon and Sussex since 1921, and it needs help, so we're going to invest in that. Last year we built a fence around the police parking lot, and yes, there's a gate on it, but it's not automatic, and we want to make it automatic so that the police officers can be secure. Now, if you'll notice, a lot of the things we're doing are in our city park. And I already told you that we said in a resolution to the whole world, economic development's the most important thing we're doing here in Tenino. We've determined that our city park is the economic driver for this community. That's why we're putting so many resources into it. We've got numbers to back it up. In about a 50-mile radius, there are more out-of-city users of our city park facilities than those of us in town use it. So it makes sense. We want to invest that. We want a nicer facility. We want a wider attraction. And of course, the more people that come here, the more benefits our business community get. Which leads me to probably the final point. So I'm standing here talking to you as a clerk treasurer that works for a government agency. So I can't stand here and say, hey, go visit this business or go visit that business. I have to say, come visit all our businesses. So what? So Tenino sees its role in economic development as setting the conditions for economic development so that agencies like Steady can come in and work with our business community, and they've got a business-friendly climate to make things successful for all of us.
Hi, I'm Commissioner Gary Edwards, and you are watching Thurston County Connection on Thurston Community Media. TC Media, it's local.
It's local. It's local. Tune in on Channel 3.
Or at your convenience, go to tcmedia.com. thurstoncountyconnect.org and select a Thurston County program of your choice. We are in the Sandstone Cafe in Tenino, Washington, and we're going to talk about economic development and all of the benefits that come from shopping local. Matter of fact, what is Shop Local Buy Local? What are we talking about with that program? Nora, do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, to me, I think shopping local and spending your money locally means you're investing in your local community and you are using your dollar to say that you believe those businesses are valuable and that they should be there and that they add something to the community. So it's a huge economic benefit for that local community, as well as a great way to help communities build themselves up and be resilient and stronger as a whole community, I think.
What do you think, Cheryl? You must have something. You're the business owner here. We're taking up your space. Fill us in a little bit about the benefits.
Well, when the community engages with the local businesses, we stay more vibrant, which gives us an opportunity to also give back to the community. So it's not just our tax dollars that go back, but we support the schools. We support a lot of the local events that go on here. And we do a lot of volunteer work, cleanup of the park, cleanup of our trails. And so to keep the businesses alive and strong gives us that opportunity to give back to our community.
One of the things I like to think about is we're all in this game together, really. And that's where it is so important that we get the message out. And talking about that, there's some type of a survey that is going on. Do either one of you have some information on that?
So Cheryl and I have both worked on Shop South, which is a rural buy local campaign for all of the rural communities in South Thurston County. And as a way to promote that and to get more community members involved and get more businesses involved, we started a campaign for the month of February that's a sweepstakes, where folks can enter and tell us their favorite thing about the community that they live in, and share that around the community. And by entering them, they get to qualify to win a good prize basket of goodies from local businesses.
And I've heard that's pretty good stuff that they've come up with.
There's some pretty good stuff
prize.
in there. Yeah.
So,
there's you've entered a bunch of gift certificates, right?
Yes, and so there's going to be a first, second, and third prize drawing. And we have donated a gift certificate for each one of those, as several of the businesses have.
There's some other, I think the stone carver has entered some beautiful hearts that he made from the local sandstone, and other businesses entered gift certificates. Tenino Wooden Money is in those baskets. There's some real good treats and prizes in there.
And how is it that some of the businesses that maybe aren't involved could get involved in Shopping South? What would be an avenue for everyone to participate?
We partnered with the Yelm Area Chamber of Commerce, the Tenino Chamber of Commerce, and the Rochester Chamber of Commerce. And they helped give Shop South some of its seed money. And so currently you need to be a member of one of those three chambers, your business does, in order to join Shop South. And then you can go to shopsouthlocal.com and fill out a form and connect with George Sharp at the EDC, and he helps get everybody registered. And then there's a variety of benefits and perks that you get from that in addition to your chamber membership. Extra promotion, we've got some social media promotion that you get to participate in, and ways of networking with other businesses, and some other nice visual aids that you can use in your own business to promote it as well.
Great.
So if I could just add that, when we put this together, this is a group of really caring individuals from different communities that want to promote the local businesses. And everybody involved with this is a volunteer. So our heart is really in drawing attention to our communities. And it's been really exciting, and it's been really encouraging to see how all of these South County cities and towns have come together for one purpose, and that is to draw attention because as a business, we want to draw attention, we want to bring money to our businesses to support them, to keep them. If the businesses, our local businesses don't make enough money, they're going to go somewhere else. So we want to keep those businesses here, and we want to encourage new businesses to come into our community. But it's also educating those folks that support us. What do we have to offer? Are we worth coming to? And we are. And so getting that information out from Roy, McKenna, Yelm, all the way to Rochester, and having these chambers work together the way they have has been phenomenal. It's absolutely exciting.
And from a small business perspective, just give us an idea, how many employees do you have here at the Sandstone Cafe?
There is 8 of us, and that includes, I'm including myself and my
Sure.
daughter that own the cafe.
So, as people come in here and spend money, that gets spread out all through the community and just helps that whole community cohesiveness take place.
Absolutely.
My interest in joining the Shop South program, I'm here as a representative from the Conservation District, and part of what we do is work to support an agricultural community and make sure that there's an agricultural economy in our area. And so I think the rural spaces is where a lot of that ag land is. And so that was kind of my professional reason for coming to this table. But I also grew up in Tenino, and I love where I grew up, and I didn't always get a lot of positive recognition for growing up in Tenino. And as a young person that chose to move back to my community, to me it's been really exciting to partner with business owners in the town that I grew up in and to partner with this broader community to revitalize this place and to make it a relevant place for young people, so that people that are my age or folks that are in high school can see this is a cool place to live, and this is a really vibrant community that supports its community members, that wants a healthy local economy that you can participate in, that you can come back and raise a family in. And to me, that's the best part about getting to work with people like Cheryl and get to work on this program in general.
And really, as we move forward, there are other benefits as well. We're all concerned about the environment, for an example. And we want that economic development to focus on economic development, but at the same time, protect our pristine environment. I don't know anybody that doesn't want clean water or clean air. I understand, Nora, that the nonprofits are part of what's going on here in Shop South, and it's not just economic development, because the nonprofits are very much an integral part of our community. Could you give us a little insight on that?
Yeah, when we were developing Shop South, we spent a long time just coming to the table and brainstorming, and a lot of that was looking at other buy local campaigns that are successful across the country, and kind of doing a review of what else exists out there. And a lot of those programs really do focus on for-profit businesses, but because our campaign was formulated with people from all of the businesses and communities that are a part of Shop South, we realized that nonprofits play a huge role in supporting our local community, and to exclude them, they participate in the chambers, and to exclude them from participating in this program felt really wrong, I think. And we all agreed that the benefits that they give to our community, they employ people, or they provide services, or they help build up that community and support the other programs, the schools, the things that are going on in these towns. We needed to make sure that they were included as well. And so we've included nonprofits as a category within our program.
Nora, what can you tell us about the sweepstakes program that is going to be continuing as we move through the year?
Yeah, so we've been doing the bigger sweepstakes for Valentine's, because it's February, campaign through the month, and that does end on February 28th. And then throughout the rest of the year on Mondays, we're going to be doing drawings from people as they continue to share with us what they love about their community. For $10 gift certificates for different businesses that are Shop South businesses throughout the community. And so that'll be a continuing way throughout the year that people can participate and share with us how they love their community, and continue to build that momentum.
Okay, thanks. I guess we're about winding up here today for this segment here at the Sandstone Cafe in downtown Tenino. And maybe we'll get a parting word from Cheryl as we close out this segment. Cheryl.
Well, I appreciate everybody coming here. And if I could just mention real quick, one of the things I think has been unique about this particular campaign is that we aren't just focusing on Tenino. I mean, we're sitting here in Tenino, but this was a very South County effort to draw the communities together. And part of the reason we did that was because we recognized the fact that Tenino doesn't have everything we need to shop for, but Yelm might, or Rainier might, or Rochester. So these South counties are really pulling the efforts together to communicate that information to our consumer.
Thank you very much for joining us here today at the Sandstone Cafe, and you will be seeing more as this process continues on. Now, when we left you last, we were down at Tenino at a study meeting, and we interviewed a few folks, and there's a background to the study program, and Mr. Cade is instrumental in putting this all together, and he's going to fill us in here at the Economic Development Council here in Lacey. So could you give us a little idea of how this all came about?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. Study is a fantastic opportunity for our community to work together. Started about 6-7 years ago. Started looking around for ways that our rural parts of Thurston County, or just the southern part of Thurston County, can work together on a shared agenda to create economic wealth. We started developing strategies for each one of the individual cities, for Yelm, Tenino, Rainier, Bucota, Grand Mound, Rochester. But we wanted to do something better. We wanted something really cool. We wanted to work together. And so we essentially one evening took about a 3-hour time frame of everybody's evening in the middle of the summer, about 7 years ago. We got everybody in the Tenino City Hall, and we outlined what can we do together. And we realized if we work together, which each one of the cities put in a representative, the EDC, the Visitors Convention Bureau, the Thurston Regional Planning Council, and if we focused on economic development as a joint exercise, then we could start leveraging resources. There's more power, there's more energy when we work together instead of separately and opposed to each other. We could look at legislative agendas, we could look at infrastructure, we could look at recruitment strategies, we could look at promotional ideas. So we put that in a mix. We all agreed that we wanted to work together. And that group meets every month, once a month. They work on a business plan. They work on a successful implementation strategy to do those things. Every year they come up with a new prioritization of projects. And I got to tell you, every year it gets better. The first year was kind of getting to know each other and kind of finding out what are the resources. Second year got a little bit more robust, and every year since then they've had opportunities to recruit business, to retain businesses, business excellence, land use planning, provide input to the decision makers and the leadership. It's been really, really cool. And the other thing that we found was that our organization does a lot of things here at the Economic Development Council. We have a really deep bench for technical assistance. There's got to be a way for all of our resources to get into South County. There's no reason for them to come all the way up here when we can go there. And we do that. We bring our SCORE program down there. We bring our business technical assistance program down there. We bring our government purchasing program down there. We bring our marketing program and our relationships and our other tools that we bring. And that's the idea, is that we want that community to be so successful. We want them to be so successful they just generate resources for themselves and they generate wealth. They generate wealth in those communities, and we want to help them do it. And that's what Steady's all about.
And creating jobs, and you know, we talked about shop local down there. I can tell you that it seems like it's really had some success.
It has. That Shop Local South program started in the middle of last year, and just just takes one step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and it keeps getting better and better. And the idea is that we want to keep those dollars circulating in those communities, keep them healthy. Keep those dollars circulating and generate new dollars and add things into that system. It's just been really, really fun to see. It's been one of the really cool projects that we've been working on here. First couple years, I thought, I don't know if it's going to work. But I got to tell you, they're committed to it. Those communities, those businesses are committed to it, and the cities are committed, the county's committed to it, our organization is committed to it, and it's all done on sweat equity. We all put in our resources there, and it seems to work.
I think it makes for a healthier community when we're all in this game. We're all in this together.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. It's been a lot of fun.
What about startups? Could you give us a little insight on the assistance that you're able to give startup operations?
Yeah. So we have, under the umbrella of the Economic Development Council, we've created the Center for Business and Innovation, CB&I. And it's a wonderful partnership between us and South Puget Sound Community College. It is designed specifically to work with folks that want to start a business, go through that feasibility stage, kind of kick some tires, figure out what they want to do, but also some real market analysis. So when they launch their business, they have a whole backdrop of resources. And what I mean by that is that we have the Washington Center for Women in Business, we have the Procurement Technical Assistance Program, we have the SBA SCORE program here, we have the Small Business Development Center. That sounds like alphabet soup. It sounds like there's just a menu of things. What we don't want to have people come in here and say, geez, where do I fit in? Don't worry about it. We'll triage where you're at, and we want you to start with a real strong footing. We'll provide that strong base, and we'll guide you through those processes and the steps to start a business. Last 2 years, we've launched about 110 businesses out of this Center for Business Innovation. Those are new businesses that are employing themselves, employing other individuals, and moving product and goods and services in Thurston County's economy. It's really been effective.
Do you have a particular example of somebody that started out in the garage and they ended up employing 100 people or something like that?
Not in the last 2 years, but if you think about some of the businesses in Thurston County that are top of mind, most of them start out locally, and most of them started out in their garage. Sunset Air, is one of our great employers in Thurston County. Sure. Pete Fletch, when he started that business out here in Lacey, he started in his garage and he employed himself and maybe a couple of folks, and now they really are one of the state's leading energy efficiency companies. So there's a number of examples like that, but yeah, we have them all over the place. Thurston County's dotted with these great examples of businesses that start in their garage. And our idea is, our real focus with the Center for Business Innovation is to provide them that backdrop to do that, to grow.
And you've been able to take those examples and duplicate them for the new folks coming in.
Yeah, we have. And so we've springboarded those business startups, that technical assistance, because if you're just going to start companies and you're not going to kind of love them, and help them grow.
Sure, like your kids, huh?
Yeah, like your kids. So we also provide resources to expand that market. So we not only grow the company, start them, launch them, but we'll work with them to expand their market share. We have a wonderful group of individuals that do some data analysis. We have some products here and some services. We call it the Tune Up Scale Up series that works with companies to grow from maybe they're at $150,000 of revenue, get them up to $300,000 or $400,000 of revenue. So we have that series. It's been really, really effective to do that. We can move them into our government contracting program. We run that program actually statewide. That program was worth about $1 billion to the state's economy in the last 2 years. Locally, it was worth probably about $100 million in our local economy in the last 3 years. And those are contracts that don't necessarily go to large companies, but they go to those medium, small businesses. Maybe there's a contract up at Joint Base Lewis McChord or at the state or somewhere else in the federal government. We do that here.
Why? And one of the things I can see is starting up, I can't imagine how many pitfalls there are that if you don't have somebody to ask that's been through it, that has a little background, so that's got to be saving a lot of folks, just that knowledge base.
Yeah, in fact, toot our horn a little bit, Ron Nielsen is the director of the Small Business Development Center here at the Center for Business Innovation. He works with folks to understand where those pitfalls are. So on the cash flow projection, if you're looking at your financials and you can see that where that dip is, we can actually build a bridge, help you build a bridge to get over that dip and get moving forward. And that's one of the strategies that we employ here, is to make sure that doesn't get you blindsided. Yeah, and we've I think the work that's done is just that really good economic development work. Just make sure that businesses not necessarily are cranking out the business, but they have the ability to keep doing that business and keep employing people, keep adding dollars to the local community, and keep those machines moving forward.
What do you have as far as upcoming events that could kind of give you some exposure, but other folks might come in and benefit from that as well?
So one of the things that we have going on here, we have, first of all, I would point people to our website, thurstonedc.com, look on the Center for Business Innovation tab, and actually there's a listing of webinars and other online resources they can take advantage of. So do that, thurstonedc.com. Take a look at that. One of the events that we've coming up, we call it the Inspire Business Conference. It's put on by the Washington Women for Business. That's the program that runs an SBA program. It's coming up on May 2nd, and it's a half day to a 3/4 day, has a series of curriculum. So you can come in, and if you want to go through a series on marketing, you can start at the basics of marketing all the way up through kind of what's the real detailed using data to drive your marketing plan, or if it's a management program that you want to go through. That day, that conference is designed specifically to do that. We try to do it in a different way rather than just throw a bunch of information at you. We want people to be inspired. We love doing the work that we do. I get really excited about it, and our team gets really excited about it, but we want our businesses to be excited about their business. And so we try to bring in some speakers that will inspire people, and so that's why we call it Inspire. They'll inspire people to grow and expand, but also take those lessons and give them to your neighbor. I don't have to have the ownership of it, so I want people to do that. And then we also have our annual gala business awards. So there's a number of business awards in the community. What we want to focus our business awards on at the end of April is business excellence. And we tell the story of why these individuals or why these companies are being bestowed the Business of the Year. They all have great stories to tell. You talked about earlier about the business that started in a garage. What a great story. How does somebody do it? And so we try to project that. So we want people to leave all of our conferences and our meetings with something in their pocket. A lesson, how do you do it? Best practice, things that I can apply. So we always try to imbue the folks. So pay attention to so I ask people to pay attention to our website. Also pay attention to the Inspire Conference coming up, and then our Gala Awards program coming up at the end of January, February, March, April.
So this will help somebody. They got a small cupcake business. Pretty soon it's going to be a big cupcake business, I take it. Is that right?
Business that does a lot of cupcakes.
Okay,
right? Yeah,
good
right
enough. And here we are at the EDC in Lacey, and we're talking with Aslan Mead. Aslan, could you fill us in a little bit, not only about yourself on what you're doing and your interaction, but give us a little update on, from Steady's perspective. I know you were very active there, and for a couple-year period, maybe you could fill us in a little bit.
Sure, Gary, thanks for having me. It's fun to get a chance to do this, and I'm really glad that Steady's getting the attention right now. I actually, when I arrived at the EDC in the beginning of 2016, like right at the very beginning of 2016, I pretty much was handed off Steady almost immediately, and I became the administrator for that. I also had an extended contract with the Port of Olympia to focus on the agricultural economy of the Thurston County region, and so those kind of went hand in hand, and I did a lot of rural development and just kind of going in, getting to meet everybody and develop those relationships. And so with Steady, working with those communities, I found kind of leads in each of those communities that then took me around to introduce me to others in the community. And I guess I would say that during those years, I mean, we spent a lot of time building Steady until I would say that at the success level of today, where you have some standing room only meetings and representatives from every community present at every time. So,
one of the, I don't know if you want to call it a topic, or one of the issues that you were dealing with early on was that activity in conjunction with the port and Tenino, and you mentioned agriculture, what's coming up there, and I guess that's not a secret that we're trying to get something accomplished down there.
So yes, actually in Tenino, we are looking to establish an agricultural business park. And it was in those early days that those original ideas started kicking around, that this could be a possibility, what would that look like? And through the last couple of years, we doggedly pursued funding options, and we do have a legislative appropriation from the capital budget from the state for $618,000. And then there's another funding source that should be told not this week. But by the time this show comes out, we can probably say it. But we are getting some funding not only for the infrastructure, but for the master planning. So it looks like it's going to be a reality that we will have an agricultural business park in Tenino. STEADY was certainly a part of those initial discussions, and we had some kind of subcommittee groups just specifically talking about that. We went to USDA Rural Development and looked for different grant funding. From there, we explored the TransAlta Community Reinvestment Fund and others. So STEADY was engaged with all of that.
Aslan, the Bountiful Byway process that you were instrumental in putting together, can you give us a little background on that and how that's all come about?
Sure. So I actually became, Bountiful Byway started with previous commissioners, right. And then the formal agreement happened in 2015 with the county for the Visitor and Convention Bureau to take on the marketing of the byway officially. At that point, a committee was actually stood up through the county, and I was one of the original members of that committee. Through STEADY, both me representing the EDC and that committee, as well as the Visitor and Convention Bureau staff, we were both taking part in STEADY. And so STEADY, obviously, the byway goes through all of the STEADY towns, and so it was a really natural match, and we did some really great stuff, like we did a Bountiful Byway business readiness training that we held in a couple of locations, Yelm being one of them, where we got the businesses together and actually did their business training and then preparation for tourism businesses and things of that nature. So really good ways that the EDC and the VCB could partner together, the Visitor and Convention Bureau. STEADY supported all those efforts. And certainly another one would be like our Shop South initiative. That started around, a little bit. It started immediately, like when I got there, everyone was talking, we need a buy local campaign for the rural communities specifically. I heard that as the #1 priority over and over again, month after month. But for a while, we would just kind of keep talking about it, and we would keep brainstorming about it. And then there was this one magical moment. I remember we were in Rainier in December, when people said, I will do this, and another one said, I will do this, and then we actually set up a subcommittee of the people who actually really start to do the work. And now George Sharp is running that program, and all 3 chambers from Rochester and Grand Mound and Yelm and Tenino all are engaged in that program, and they're doing all kinds of fun sweepstakes and all kinds of things going on, and I think it's really gathering momentum. But that was a long process, but a really needed one, identified by the communities themselves. So,
well, great. Thank you very much for speaking with us here this afternoon. It's very informative.
Well, thanks for having me again. Thanks, Gary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here we are with more about the Bountiful Byway with Moira and Shauna. And how did we get the byway started here in Thurston County?
Oh, absolutely. The byway has been such a labor of love for probably almost 10 years now. Back before 2012, a number of community members from farmers to wineries, brewers, and also some community organizations, including the EDC, VCB, Port of Olympia, and the county all got together and were talking about putting together an agritourism overlay in the South County area. And that was formalized formalized in about 2012. And then in 2014, the actual Bountiful Byway was formed, which is a 60-mile scenic route through South Thurston County, which features the farms and gives people an opportunity to meet the locals and learn more about where food comes from and create a stronger sense of connection to our local community through that. And then towards the end of 2015, the county and the VCB entered into an agreement where the VCB was able to take over the marketing of the byway. So there was a great map and an amazing, beautiful logo that was created at the county level, and it had reached to the point in the program and grown to a point where it really just needed to have some dollars and energy put behind it to spread the word about the Bountiful Byway. So we've been working over the last couple of years to get the word out and spread the word about the Bountiful Byway, the farmers, the makers, and getting visitors to really appreciate what we have to offer here in Thurston County.
And that must be the beyond portion of Olympia and beyond, because we're out in rural America at that point and getting beyond Olympia. Huh?
Yeah, and it's really a neat way for visitors to really gain a strong sense of place and being able to understand what makes our community tick, because they get to really connect and meet with the local makers, the farmers, and get a really strong sense of place through food. Food has become the #1 decision factor when people are deciding on where to go, because it gives people a really strong sense of place. With all the technology we have these days, it's actually become kind of the last analog experience, if you will, and it's a way that we can kind of set down our phones and be able to connect with another human, meet animals, pet goats, you know, the whole thing, and taste some local flavors that are
That come from beyond, and we enjoy them here in Olympia.
absolutely.
And could you talk a little bit about the economic benefits that we receive here in our community from the byway?
Yeah, absolutely. So the visitors that are coming in and visiting the local farms, the fruit stands, the winemakers, and so forth are spending dollars in our local community and in our small businesses, and those dollars stay here when those visitors leave. And the other neat thing from an economic development perspective is that the Bountiful Byway has really become part of the story of what makes Thurston County so special, and so that becomes part of the story that we can sell when people are looking at relocating businesses here and attracting top talent. It's very much woven into the fabric of what makes this community special and separates our quality of life from other communities in the area. So the visitor dollars are really important, and then it also is that storytelling factor as well.
Maybe you could fill us in a little bit for those viewers out there that want to find out more about what we have to offer.
Absolutely. So we have a website, bountifulbyway.com. We've also created a brochure, which you can pick up at our Visitor Information Center on the Capitol campus. And it details all the great farms, farmers markets, breweries, distilleries, some of our local attractions that you can experience, like the Tenino Quarry Pool and some of those really awesome locations that families can go and enjoy while they're exploring the Bountiful Byway. So you can find information there. We've also gotten a lot of media. We've done a lot of media pitching about the byway, and so there's been a lot of articles like in LA Times and Seattle Times. So a quick search on the internet as well, you'd be able to get a lot of different articles that kind of focus on the different aspects of the byway.
Well, I'd like to thank you ladies so much for joining us today and giving us a little explanation of what we've got going on here in Thurston County. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited to promote it. So,
To find out more about the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative, go to the Thurston County Economic Development Council's website at thurstonedc.com. For more information on Experience Olympia and beyond, go to experienceolympia.com. I'm Gary Edwards for Thurston County Connection. Thanks for watching.
you.